All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started here. So, welcome to MVP Office Hours. I'm Jared Kingston. I'm a consultant with Aperio and help organize MVP Office Hours. If this is your first time on, I just want to give you a quick rundown of MVP Office Hours and how things go. So, really, this is just a forum. So it's speak up, interject in some blank spots, and we can help answer your question. Two ways. You can speak up on the phone if there's some dead air. You can post in the chat, or you can raise your hand. We'll get to you when we can. We don't have people on the call today, it looks like. Right now we're sitting at about 11, so it may be a shorter call, but we'll see. We're here we've reserved an hour for you, so if we need that time, we'll take it. So with that being said, there's only a few MVPs here, so I'll just no need to raise your hand by name. The first one is I see there's Deepa. Can I introduce yourself?
Hi, this is Deepa Patel, Salesforce MVP, Silicon Valley User Group co-leader, and I'm also an independent Salesforce consultant.
Awesome, thank you. And then we have Marty. You're on.
Yep. Thanks, Jared. My name is Marty Chang, consultant with Solemn Consulting, and my background and specialty is in Salesforce development with Apex and Visualforce and beyond.
Awesome. So if you have the dev questions, definitely bring Marty can help you out there. All right. So and then I didn't have any other MVPs, did I? Don't see any other in there. There is, so I can speak up. So, all right. Well, let's get started, and whoever wants to ask the first question, go right ahead.
Okay. This is Salman Siddiqui, actually, and I actually have a question.
Go ahead.
What are the pros and cons of turning multiple contacts on, like for activities, basically? Like if I turn on multiple contacts for activities, is my reporting capability shrinked, or can I still do reporting when I have the multiple contacts on at the account level?
So, Mark, can you expand on what kind of reporting are you worried about?
I'm just adding that. How does adding multiple contacts to one activity affect activity counts or reporting, basically? So I know that Salesforce lets you have 365 days. You can do your reporting on activities, but anything past that, it basically archives it basically. So what I'm asking is, if I do multiple contacts on there, can I still do reporting that I'm about to do using the Salesforce functionality?
I think what I've seen when you do reports, even if you have multiple contacts attached to an activity, the primary contact that's first in the list, that's the one that shows up in the report.
Can you speak up? I can't hear you.
I said, from what I've seen so far, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. From what I've seen so far, even if you have multiple contacts associated to an activity, when you run reports with activities, the first person that's in that contact, that's the one that shows up on the reports.
So then you can't really use the multiple contacts to run a report off of that then? So I can't accomplish that?
I haven't quite completely gone in that detail, but what I've noticed is that the first person is the one that shows up on the reports. Now, can you give us an example of what kind of a report that you're looking for where you need every contact that was on that activity? Like, what is it how do you want your report grouped by, or how do you want your report sorted?
What I'm trying to basically accomplish is, for example, you have an account in Salesforce, right? Let's just say it's a partner account. And there are a couple different contacts that work for that account, basically. So if I want to for example, if I go to some agency, for example, like some company, and I'm having a meeting with them, giving a presentation, I want to be basically click on my activity, and put down all the people that work at that company. So that's the reason I want to have the multiple contact option on, so I can select them. So when I'm running my report, if I'm running reports to see that who all was in that meeting, I should be able to run that report in that manner.
You actually, so you actually should be able to do that today, Mark. The shared activities has a bit of a different, it behaves a little bit differently depending on which standard report type you're using. But if you do like an activities with context, you should be able to get that essentially one activity with multiple, with all the people, all the context that you associated with it.
You know what would be a good idea, Mark, is Mark, right? Is that your name?
No, it's Salman, by the way.
Okay. What would be a good idea to do this is, do you have either a DevOrg or a Sandbox? What I would recommend is turn that feature on in the Sandbox, create a few records, create the report you want, and look at the behavior and see if you get that behavior.
Okay.
Because once you do it in the Sandbox and you refresh the Sandbox, you don't have to worry about affecting anything in production. So either do it in a Sandbox or go get a brand new DevOrg with 2 licenses and play with that. And to get a brand new DevOrg, you can go to developer.force.com and you can get a new org there. All it needs is you create a different email address, and you'll have that to play with whatever you want to do in an org in Salesforce.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I understand that that's possible. I just wanted to see, like, if you guys had an idea that, are there any kind of pros and cons to multiple contacts, basically? So,
I have it
okay.
turned on in my regular org, like my business org. I do have it turned on, but at the same time, I've not run the detailed level of report that you're looking for. So I do have it, and I love it. And whenever I go look at my event, I can see who all is in that event, in that meeting, and it synchronizes with, my Google Calendar. So it even takes all of that because I use Cirrus Insight for synchronizing. But I've not run specifically the report that you're looking for. So unfortunately, I can't answer, but do I use it? Yes. And do I love it? Absolutely. That is what I'm saying. Go try it out in a Sandbox or a DevOrg, and go run a report that you need to make sure that you're getting what you need.
Okay, thank you. I will do that. I mean, I just have one last question for you guys on reporting perspective. So I'm trying to run a report, right? What I'm trying to do in my report is I'm trying to categorize my reports in like top 10 or like top 50 contracts or top 50 accounts. And I know Salesforce does not let you like roll up stuff like that basically. Do you guys have any kind of advice? Is there anything in the App Store that lets you do some kind of reporting in that perspective where I can do stuff based on top N number of accounts or top N number or something like that? Because I know the built-in reporting
dashboards with that. You can do that in dashboards.
But what if I want to do reports? I don't want to use dashboards.
I don't know of a product that allows you to do that in the reports. Do you guys know? Does anybody know? The only other product that I know who allows you to do anything like that is Conga.
Conga? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing. But Salesforce reporting doesn't have the capability though, so that's the thing. Okay.
Well, it's a good thing to post it on ideas. Go create an idea. Create an idea and put your use case in there, and Salesforce listens. I mean, it's amazing the number of ideas that have been incorporated into the Summer 14 release. So, if you have a fantastic idea, which you do, go create an idea.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
All right. Who else has a question? Feel free to speak up.
Sure, I'll go. Hey, this is Tammy Lau. I had a question about resource calendars. One of our departments uses the calendars pretty extensively, specifically resource calendars to book vehicles and rooms and things like that. And it works pretty well, but the only problem is one of the things they want to do is at the end of the year, report on that resource use. So how many hours the conference room was used, how many hours these vehicles were reserved. And that's something that's been a challenge. I was wondering if you guys had any workarounds or things you've seen done to accomplish that.
I'm looking here. Give me a second. I'm trying to see if it is even possible to build a custom report type against that. No, I don't even see the calendar object in the custom report type. So
Yeah, I've tried different reporting things, and I just haven't found a way to do that.
no.
Yeah,
Don't. Go ahead, and Marty.
Thanks, Deepa. No, I mean, I was just going to agree with you. Not all of the objects in Salesforce are available to you in the regular reporting interface. I think for this one, you would be able to use something, you'll be able to create a custom Visualforce page to give you that information.
I'm looking at the data loader. Hold on, to see if there's even possible to get to it via the data loader. I want to see if the calendar object is available via data loader. CALM, nope. You can't get to it via the data loader either. Sorry. Once again, a great idea.
Oh, I think the idea's already out there. I voted on it. I was wondering if any ideas for workarounds, or maybe I'll just keep playing with it and see.
I mean, I would say, you know, what I see a lot of you in these sorts of situations is like a solution like Calendar Anything can sometimes help some of that added functionality. I mean, yeah, resource calendaring and stuff like that is kind of one of those things that could use some love. So yeah, if you've got an idea out there, definitely on the MVP Office Hours group. Love to take a look at that. We can vote it up, type deal, because I'd love to get some.
In fact, I just installed Calendar Anything in our study group, org that we have, and and they do have the object available for reporting.
Okay.
So, yeah, that might be a good way to go, is to go get Calendar Anything, try and play with it, and then it does give you, it's limited, but it still gives you, it gives you like the event color, it gives you some information, not all.
Okay, yeah, great. I'll look into that.
Yeah, look into that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next. Be shy. Nobody has any questions? No, nothing they're curious about?
I mean, I can go again. I have another question. This is Salman, by the way.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I just had a question regarding red types, okay?
I'm sorry, you're cutting in and out. Question regarding what?
I have questions regarding record types.
Okay.
And my question was like, for example, right, if I create a record type at account level to separate like certain orgs that I'm working with in my company basically, so let's just say I create a new record type, can I still look at all the contacts basically? Because the contact object doesn't have a record type, right? So even if I create a record type at account level, is there any way that I can create another record type at contact level so that way I can only see one org can only see one contacts basically associated towards them?
Are you talking about filtering down the list of contacts
Yes.
based on the contact record type?
Yes, I just want to filter out like segments, for example. Like if I'm dealing with like a one segment, I want to make sure that this account, if I'm creating a record type for a segment at account object level, can I create a record type at a contact level? That way, those people in that segment can only see the contacts associated to this one segment.
He's talking more about sharing rules or visibility than.
Like I don't want some other people to view all the contacts. I only want them to view the contacts that are part of their own segment.
See, that's where you need sharing rules or roles or that plays more into security than record types. See, record types are used to segregate data based on. So let's say if you have a B2C client versus a B2B client, right? So.
Okay.
If you're business to consumer and you look at the account, you're not going to have any number of employees or annual revenues or anything like that for a consumer account. But you're going to have that for a business account. And that's why you use record types with page layouts to separate out those types of what I call account demographics. So the people that are working with consumers only see consumer information. The people that are working with businesses see more relevant information. Now to filter those further, you could have a B2C and B2B contact record so the information that shows up is different. But when you link those contacts, you could filter that. But as far as contact visibility, if somebody goes and clicks on the contact tab, they're going to see all the records unless you define criteria-based sharing rules between those groups. So what you have to do is you have to create a group of people that are in one segment, create a group of people that are in another segment, and then have a criteria-based sharing rule that says this segment can only see records with this record type for the contact record. And then the other group can only see contacts for the record type that has the second segment, and now you are kind of dividing them up using the combination of record types and security to make sure that only one segment can see their contacts and the other segment can see their contacts. It's a combination of both.
Okay, that's a good point. The problem that I'm having is on both segments, I have contacts that work for both segments. So if I do it this way, then I'm creating duplicates. You see what I mean? So what's the best way for me not to have duplicate contacts in there, though?
Well, you would still have to use some logic. Like you would have to have, you would have to design some logic that when you add the contact, if it belongs to both segments, you maybe check some kind of a checkbox or something and use that into criteria-based sharing rule. You have to provide the system logic on what happens when you want to do something. So the method to do is with record types or even like criteria-based sharing rule. And in that case, you might not need to create another record type for context. Just create some checkboxes or flags that, are you guys on Enterprise?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe you have them check saying, okay, this belongs to just this segment, or this contact belongs to both the segments, and your criteria, your sharing rule utilizes that to decide who's going to see which contact. And for that, you don't need a record type. You just need, some checkboxes that you can use in your filter-based criteria for your sharing rules.
Okay, thank you.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Anyone else?
Do we have a question here? Do we have a question from Sarah? Has a question, and he's looking for some ideas on quoting functionality that's not connected to opportunity. So being able to create quotes, simple estimation, without having to create an opportunity for that. Do they have any suggestions there?
Well, why would you not create an opportunity if you're giving someone a quote? Can this person, I don't know who it was, can you elaborate a little bit more on your business case?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm putting you. So basically, the business case is being able to kind of do quoting before we even get to the stage of the opportunity. So we're not necessarily going to provide necessarily this quote to the customer, but the salesperson kind of wants to get an idea of potentially what that opportunity would look like if we do get to that stage. So we don't want to falsify, our business process and create an opportunity, and we actually don't end up, going forward with the deal or presenting it to the customer at that point. So, we just have thousands of products and complicated price books right now. So just doing it, manually right now is taking a lot of time when they're doing kind of these estimations. So if we could be able to do it within Salesforce, it would be nice.
Okay, so I'm going to play a little devil's advocate just because you said you have thousands of products, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys use the collaborative forecasting at all?
Yes.
Okay. So the thing is, I know that you don't want to create extra opportunities, but the way the products object is designed, it is only associated with an opportunity, right? And now it's associated with an order, which this is not an order either. Why not create an opportunity with a stage, that's maybe a zero probable, not even a zero, like put a 1%, I don't like zero probability, and omit it from the forecast so you have the opportunity, right? Because I'll tell you what, having worked with a lot of executives, at the end of the year, what do you do if the executive comes to you and say, count the number of, proposals we've put out there that we didn't convert into opportunities? Where would you go to get that information? Because the only other way I can think of doing what you want to do is to create a custom object and bring the products in there. I know, and I'm trying to, Marty, do you remember, I think we can do custom lookups from products now, right? Like to custom objects?
You mean to look from custom objects to product?
Yeah, or like create a lookup field.
Let's give it a try. 1 second. I do recall
I do recall that being like either on the roadmap or I can't remember if it's already in place. But that's the only other way that I can think of is that you would need to create a custom object. But then like at the end of the year, if an executive comes to you and says, show me all of this, you're going to have a hard time tying that into your actual opportunities and revenues. So sometimes, I normally try to kind of not convince, but kind of like discourage, businesses to do that. It's like just create an opportunity, create it at a low percentage, omit it from your pipeline completely. You can keep it omitted, right? Like it doesn't even have to be part of your pipeline numbers. Just keep it omitted, but then it and have a better understanding on, and be able to also ask questions like, why is this happening? What is the percentage that we're doing this? How often are we doing this? Because I guarantee you executives will come back and say, show me that. And you will not be able to show it. So the answers are you either create an opportunity that's omitted from the pipeline itself so you don't see it, or create a custom thing.
Okay.
Those are the only two ways that you'll be able to go. But if it were up to me, I would go more the route of creating opportunities and creating it omitted. By the way, do you guys use leads?
Yes.
So see, if you don't do, because this is more of a process where you're doing a quoting stage during a lead qualification process. And so then it's like those leads don't get converted, and so you don't know if there was a lead conversion or a lead loss there, right? Like so, I think it's a better idea to create an opportunity with omitting it out of the pipeline completely, so you don't even see those numbers in the pipeline numbers.
Okay. Thanks.
Just for the record, you are able to create a lookup product field.
That's what I thought. So I thought that it was already in place. I haven't done it yet, but I thought that was already in place. So that's your other option. But I still am going to be the advocate to go the opportunity route.
Yep, agreed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Marty. Our next question here is actually a developer question here, and this one, apologize if I butcher your name, Heiko?
Yeah, it's Heiko.
Glad I got it. All right. So if you're having trouble, launch Apex from Visual Workflow. And if you guys can, Heiko posted a link to his question on the developer forums.
Yes,
Marty,
and just a little bit more background around this. I'm a former Salesforce employee, and I've done this exact same thing in plenty of my demos when I was a sales engineer at Salesforce. The instance that I'm trying this in is a developer edition org. It seems to be either limited to that instance or to developer edition orgs in general, because I've reproduced this in a sandbox that I have access to, and it works just flawlessly in the sandbox, but I cannot do it in my developer org.
Sorry, I missed the front part of that question before you were talking about the developer org in the sandbox. What is the feature you can't use?
I cannot call Apex classes from Visual Workflow. And whenever I do it, I get an error message that says the data you're trying to access is no longer accessible, which I'm not even trying to access any data in what I'm doing. I just cannot launch Apex from Visual Workflow.
Are you doing this as part of the headless, the flow-triggered workflow? No?
Nope. Just a general... Go ahead.
You see the component, but you can't, like when you run you can add the component to your flow, but when you try to run the flow, it fails?
That is correct. That is correct. And the error message that it throws is the one that says data not accessible.
I mean, it's definitely odd. I also have a developer org, and I've seen Apex components used in developer orgs and enterprise orgs.
It might be something specific to this developer org. The problem is I can't create a ticket because it's a developer org.
Right. So I mean, it's definitely. It's one of those things where if you don't have a ticket, you could try to post it to the success community, see if anyone can help you there. But yeah, I mean, I guess like I would recommend that to gain the ability to log cases with Salesforce, either log it through a client that you're working with, or become a Salesforce partner, and that'll gain you access to the partner portal.
Okay. All right, I'll try that out. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, who else has a question?
This is Dawn. I have a question around Salesforce for Outlook. And yes, we are having issues with the installer because our computers in our sales organization, everybody's locked down. They can't download anything on. So we're going to go the MSI route, but we're having a lot of issues. Is there any tips or tricks or things that we need to be aware of?
This is beyond my expertise. I'll let Marty answer it if he knows.
Yeah, I was going to say you're on Google, so you got it much easier.
That is exactly why I don't use Outlook.
Well, Donna, the really unfortunate answer is the MSI. When you're trying to package that for deployment, your best option is to escalate your case to support and explain your use case. I can tell you from being from many perspectives, because I'm a Salesforce consultant now. In previous lives, I worked in technical support and also in packaging software for delivery as well. So I totally understand where you're coming from and the challenges that you would encounter with trying to load that through. So it's the nuances in building that package itself is best resolved by connecting to the right person at Salesforce. And if you're using a third-party packaging tool or delivery tool, I would recommend you bringing a support engineer from there as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I can't. That's such it actually really is a very complicated question because it depends on the versions of software you're using, the operating systems you're using, your domain policies. It's not a simple task, unfortunately. So to Deepa's point, yes, that's exactly why some people choose not to go that route.
Yeah, we were on Lotus Note 6 months ago, so.
Oh,
wow.
Also, congratulations on moving to a better system, I guess. Hope no one here works for Lotus or IBM.
So,
You must work for a really big company.
Yes. So, thank you very much on that.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Awesome. All right. Who else has a question?
I love hearing the typing noise.
Sorry, that's actually me. I will mute myself.
Everybody must be ready for the long weekend.
It seems like it. I'm going to the wine country.
Lucky you.
I'm jealous.
Just
Sorry,
this is Marty. I just wanted to follow up on an earlier thing. Deepa, the calendar anything tool that you suggested for the resource calendar reporting.
Yeah.
That's a native app. Do you know if it is?
I think it is a native app. Yes.
Okay. It's like
because the object starts with CA _ and everything is stored in Salesforce, I believe.
Okay. I feel like that like when you set up the events in Salesforce, I was looking for the same objects as you were earlier. The names are not very intuitive. They're called relations, so it's like an event relation. That's the record that would tie your resource to the calendar. So.
Oh, you found it.
Yeah, it's not very intuitive, so it's not.
Marty genius.
No, not at all. We're getting into areas where it's like it's a little bit conceptual. Definitely we need to try it out before saying if it's possible or not. I guess I could do that. I can take that as a follow-up item to do after the call for my
Marty.
own gratification.
Oh, Marty.
Thanks. That's awesome.
Someone was saying something.
Anything?
Hi. Yes, this is my first time on this, so I'm not really sure how the forum works. But I had a question actually on the event, kind of the same, like last activity date being tied to both the events and tasks. Is there a way to use that calculation but single it out for event or task? Because it seems to take the due date, the lesser due date of event versus due date of task, and I'm trying to use it in a formula or a trigger, and if it's a due date in the future, it's a negative value, and if it's a task that was completed, the due date was 3 days ago. I want to know the last activity. Well, the last activity actually would be of a task would have been 3 days ago, but because there's an event with a date and
11 days. It has a negative 11 value, and I need the minimum of that. So it gives me the future date of an event, but I want it to be from past.
Yeah. I do not believe there is any easy way for you to do that. I think possibly the easiest way that you might be able to do that without having to write code would be to, you basically need to use there's a tool out there created by another MVP called
Roll up something,
declarative roll-ups for lookups, something to that effect.
Okay.
And I can post a link to that as well. But basically where you would go with that is you would set up, and this is in theory because I haven't tested this out with the task object, but you could set up a field like instead of saying last activity date, you could do last event date and last task date, and then use the declarative lookup roll-up to actually fill those values in for you.
Okay.
Yep, you've already got it. That's what you have to go to, unfortunately, do it. Or try to make next trigger.
Okay. Well, I actually downloaded the app last night, so I haven't had a chance to look at using it yet, so I'll go ahead and do that. I figured I couldn't find any other easy way, so I'll try that app.
Hey, Marty, I would love to see something. I think that would be something that would be very helpful to almost all clients. It'd be good to see an example.
That's a fair question. I certainly is possible. I can't promise you a timeline for that, but yeah. I mean, I think it would be interesting as well. But certainly, you guys will be the first to know.
I'm such a bum.
It is a great point. It's just tasks and events roll up to activities by default in Salesforce.
Yeah.
But also worth an idea on the on Salesforce Success Community, I think.
Yeah. On ideas. Yep.
Anybody else have any questions or anything you can help out with? Going once, going twice. All right, so weekend. Okay. So the only thing I will mention this one more time. I mentioned it on the last MVP office hours. Midwest Dreamin' 2014. AVP here in Chicago. Going to be July 10th, and going to be filled with a lot of awesomeness. So a lot of us MVPs will be Peter Coffey, Shauna Wolverton. You know, a lot of people are going to be there, so definitely check that out. And with that, I will let everybody go early. So enjoy your long weekend.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
All right.